Shane was about 2.5. That's when I noticed there was something really different with him. He had a thing for guns. He wanted to shoot everything with guns. He thought guns were toys. He wasn't watching any gun shows. He wasn't watching other than a few cartoons. There was nothing that would really get him into wanting to play with guns all the time. But he had in his mind, he wanted to shoot everybody and everything. And he just, he wanted guns, and he was like shooting. It was like, oof, oof, and he wanted to shoot.
Anytime he could get his hands on stuff where he couldn't make a gun, he would make them. He would always build things and put them together, and somehow it always turned into him making guns and weapons, which is kind of odd.
And I was like, that's not normal to have to tell a child night after night after night that guns are not toys, that they hurt, that they kill. And I got through to him that night. I said, Shane, what if somebody shot Mommy and Mommy went to heaven and you would never see Mommy again? And then his face just changed and he looked at me and goes, Mommy, I'm gonna kill him. I was shocked. When he first looked like that and I noticed that depth in his eyes, it was scary because you're like, that's not a child's look. Children don't have that kind of anger. It didn't make sense. For that split second, I was like, it took me aback. It was freaky.
When Taylor was 5, we moved to Indiana, and that's when the anxiety attack started. Taylor stopped sleeping. She basically was having horrific nightmares night after night after night. Michael woke up in the middle of the night and I heard screaming from the kitchen, and it wasn't Taylor, it was Michael.
My first instinct was that someone was there that shouldn't have been. A robber, someone breaking in, someone there to harm us. I walked out to the kitchen in the middle of the night, and there was Taylor standing there, not doing anything, just staring at the stove. I didn't know what to make of what Taylor was doing. I thought she might have been sleepwalking. She was just standing there.
About a week went by with Taylor not sleeping and repeatedly being terrified. This was not night terrors. Her nightmares were so horrific, she could not sleep. What got me to the breaking point was one night when she came in my room and she said, Mom, there's a ghost in my room.
Rebecca told me about some of the things that Taylor had been seeing. I had a hard time believing it. I don't really believe in life after death and supernatural stuff. I figured that Taylor's lack of sleep caused her to have hallucinations and see things that really weren't there.
I thought my daughter had a mental problem at that point, with her seeing ghosts, with her sleepwalking, with her being terrified night after night after night of not sleeping and being miserable. I couldn't help her, and she was exhausted and she was falling asleep at school, and I had to take her to the doctor. She was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder.